What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. I am your host, Stevie. This is episode 482. I'm looking at two of my co-hosts alongside Lincoln. Welcome back, Lincoln. How you doing?
Hello. It's been a minute. It's good to be back on air with you guys.
It is, absolutely. Thank you so much. Great to see you. We have a lot to get into. And of course, joining us is Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darlings. I'm so happy to see my booze this evening. Doing great.
Nice. Well, summer is here. I'm happy. I joined Threads. I don't know if you guys joined Threads. I posted
that.
Yeah. You know, we lost one Instagram account, but I'm happy something else has come out. I joined Threads, so I'm happy about that. I also went to the Naked Beach this weekend. Had a great time. Just so much fun there in Sayville in New Jersey. Just great time. So happy about that as well. We have some winners from our Tags promo Pride giveaway, and I just wanted to announce them. They're going to get these amazing gifts from adamstoybox.com. Magnus in Sweden won. Yes. One of our winners, international winners.
Wow, that's cool.
And Scott in Fullerton, California, who didn't believe it when he got the email today. And I said, nope, you got it. You won. So he was really excited. Yeah. I was really excited. And I want to thank all of our listeners for taking our survey and for giving us feedback in every way, shape, and form. It really means a lot. So we will use that information wisely. Okay, we have so much to get into. You know, I couldn't help but talk about something that we talked about. It's concert season. Everyone knows that everyone and their grandmother's on tour right now. The one that everyone was expecting was Madonna, and we all have heard that she had that bacterial infection. The good news is she was seen in public over the weekend and looking really good. I was super happy about that. And then afterwards, today, she posted a comment on her Instagram saying, "Thank you for all the positive energy, prayers, and words of healing and encouragement. I have felt your love. I'm on the road to recovery and incredibly grateful for all the blessings in my life." And she said, I wanted to say she woke up thinking first about her children when she was in the hospital. Second was that I did not want to disappoint anyone who bought tickets for my tour. I also didn't want to let down the people who worked tirelessly with me over the last few months to create my show. I hate to disappoint anyone. My focus now is on my health and getting stronger, and I assure you I'll be back with you as soon as I can. The current plan is to reschedule the North American leg of the tour, which was set to begin in a few days, and to begin in October in Europe. I couldn't be more grateful for your care and support. Love, Madonna. And I'm glad she posted this because a lot of people on Twitter had bought tickets to Vancouver, which was opening night, and were tweeting out to her manager, Guy Osiri. How do you say his name? I think it's Guy Osiri.
Osieri.
I think it's Osieri.
Yeah.
Calling him out and saying, like, what? We haven't heard anything. We get it. She's sick, but we bought tickets and hotel. And my response was, can you just look out for her health
Jesus
first?
Christ. Take a breath. I do not. I have to say, the Madonna fans have gotten crazier and crazier and crazier over the years. And I just want them. I am one of them. I am a grand poobah of them. I know a lot of these people personally. And I will say to them to their face, slow your roll. It's okay. It's her health is first. You will get your money back. You're not in the show. It's okay. My God.
In their minds, they're in the show.
And it was the 4th of July weekend, by the way. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It was like, it happened. A statement was made to say, calm down. And then it was like 4th of July. What are you going to do? Roll your hot dog over and do a Madonna update? Just give it a moment. And I'm sure personally that they tried their best to have the show go on. Right?
Right.
So the last thing they wanted to say for as long as possible is we're canceling anything. So they tried to work it out. And that takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, and you and I all know, I mean, last year I got a simple infection that I thought was simple, and I kept ignoring it, ignoring it, and it just got worse and worse until I finally got back from a trip, and I was like, I have to see a doctor. Yeah. It took a while at my 52-year-old body to get back into where I was working out. Now we're talking about a mega global tour with dancers and so many people. It's like to get your energy and level back up is a whole big thing. I mean, Kodi, when you heard this, first of all, I'm sure you were happy for Madonna that, she's walking around.
I'm glad she's out and about and doing her thing, and that they are making plans to have the tour go back on. But guys, have some empathy. She is not a machine. Like Lincoln said, she needs to take care of her health first. This is not something that we should take lightly because she is a little bit older. I'm just going to put that out there. So all my heart is going out to her. And I just want to say, Madonna, do your thing. Take your time. We want a good show, not a fast show. How about that?
Okay, well stated. I love that. Yeah, and it just got me thinking too that these hyper fans that bought tickets for the Vancouver show when they probably could have seen her in their own city. I'm not one to talk because I've gone to see Lisa Stansfield for a smaller fee in Europe, but it wasn't if she didn't go on tour because of something, I would have still had fun in Europe anyway. I wouldn't end everything. People are talking about hotel tickets and I spent all this money. And it's like, if you don't really have the money to do all that, why are you going to a concert for opening night for an artist that has delayed her tours in the past? And it's just keep it all in perspective. I think.
What tours has she delayed in the past?
I think her last tour, she was supposed to start. The beginning of it was supposed to start at one point, and then it was
Madam X?
It was.
Yeah, she had a few shows that were postponed, but she started. Well, that's what I meant. Yeah, but I mean, she didn't postpone her tour. She had a few dates canceled. But
that's what I mean.
Madonna's canceled. Yeah, like a date or two canceled. And like you said, Stephen, we've talked about this on the show before. When Idina Menzel said she was opening Wicked in London, I said to everyone I know, if you want to go, I'll go, which turned into 3 trips to London. And I saw her 13 times in Wicked in London. 2 times she wasn't there. And I got very emotional of, I spent all this money. I did that, not her.
Yeah.
Madonna did not strong arm you into booking a hotel and a flight. I've done it too. You roll the dice. It's part of the game.
Speaking of health and things and some close calls, there's an adult performer by the name of Roman Todd who had a near-death experience on July 4th when he suffered a severe drug overdose in LA International Airport. And the source of his almost fatal overdose was oxycodone pill laced with fentanyl. Thankfully, the porn star, he made a complete recovery because of security and doctors at LAX that were able to revive him. There's a lot of other stories that where did he get this from? Did he get it from a fellow adult performer, Ricky Larton, which hasn't been confirmed yet? But he and a friend of his, we're talking about Roman Todd, really blasted Ricky Larkin for giving him this. And all I can say is, guys, test your drugs. If you're going to partake in any of this, there are fentanyl strips. It's too late in the game to not know that if you are partaking in these things, and we are not endorsing them on this show, illicit drugs, but if you are, there's things you can look up online, Amazon. You can get fentanyl strips and you can test your drugs to see if they have this. So you don't end up in the same situation as Roman Todd did and, you know, go off on it. I don't know if you guys have anything to add on it. It's just sort of a warning to really, we should be at a state right now where there's things that you could do to circumvent being, you know, dead.
Yeah, exactly. Back in the day, it used to be enough that you knew where the drugs were coming from and you trusted that person. Now those days are bygone. And now it's time for you to test everything because you never know what could be in them. And I think that as long as you go by that rule, then you should be okay.
Yeah, I agree. Lincoln, anything, or should we move on?
No, the fentanyl test strips are a great idea. Also, when you're out drinking, watch your drink. But also know that this is a rarity, not a rule.
A Florida judge ruled that a gay men's nude resort cannot block female guests. I know this place and I've been to it many times. A Florida judge ruled that a clothing optional resort catering to gay men in Key West, Island House, which I've stayed at, like I said, should not be allowed to restrict women from staying there or accessing the areas of the resort where guests typically disrobe. And it was an order on June 30th. Administrative Law Judge Brittany Finkbeiner recommended that the Florida Commission on Human Relations should find that Island House engaged in unlawful discrimination when it prohibited Amina Chaudhry from making a reservation in July of 2022. Chaudhry is 38 years old, cisgender woman who identifies as a member of the LGBTQ community, previously filed a complaint with the commission alleging that the resort's policies discriminate against cisgender women and transgender and non-binary people. The Island House policy requires guests to be adult males 18 years or older. This is an interesting one. I've read many stories on this over the past months where this other stories that I'm paraphrasing essentially said that she came in and put paraphernalia out there. They totally welcomed her on times to come there, not to partake in all of, because there's some areas in there where you can have sexual encounters, but to come to their pool parties. They even have some rooms, apparently, according to Island House, that cisgender women and men can rent if they want to, but certain areas are off limits. This takes a different tone, though, when you're getting a judge involved. I think that we're getting into a whole new arena with this conversation. Now, I don't know why she would really want to be there. There's certain things that I know my girlfriends probably wouldn't want to be in this situation with naked people, naked men having sex. I don't know, Kodi, when you heard this, what did you think?
Yeah, I don't understand why she would want to be there either. But it's kind of giving me the whole transgender people in different bathrooms story. It's giving me the fact that the Supreme Court allowed for discrimination as far as people to make cakes and things of that nature. I don't understand what the basis for this is. I think that there are times when certain genders should not be. I mean, if you're a gay man and you want to be at the Island House by yourself with other gay men, I think that should perfectly fine. I don't understand why this woman is making such a big deal about it. I don't understand it at all.
So it's interesting, Lincoln, because there's a way that they could circumvent, an Island House could circumvent this ruling, is if they make their hotel a private club. And when you make it a private club and charge a fee, you can then dictate your own rules. And many places are opting for some of that. What do you think of that solution? Or would you care even if women were in a place where it's a naked only male Island House?
I think it should be a private club. I think that that's part of what that club is. It's like spas that are dedicated to women to have bachelorette parties and have it be a woman's retreat getaway. You don't want a bunch of men at that retreat getaway. You know what I mean? I don't. My question is, did the person really take this to a judge and have a ruling against Island House? Or is this more hypothetical, like the cake? Because remember that the latest one, the graphic design, whatever, was made up, but the Supreme Court still ruled it. So this way, it's sad, because I hope that if that person at some point has a group or a clique of people that they want to only be with, that they're allowed to be in a space with their group. Like did you see what I mean by saying that?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't necessarily go to a trans heavy weekend in the Keys because it's not necessarily my flavor. And I want to respect that they all want to get together and hang out. It's like right now in Provincetown is Bear Week. I would go to Bear Week in Provincetown before I would go to Lesbian Family Weekend or Straight Weekend. but I'm not going to go there and then try and sue someone for not letting me in on a weekend that isn't really mine anyway. I don't get it. I don't get what the resolve is.
Yeah, part of my feeling too, also on another side of my mind, is if you really want to come. I mean, who cares? I mean, we're going to do what we're going to do here. So if you're fine with it, hey. I mean, I think
agree with
the majority of people of not that persuasion are probably not going to come and not really want to be into it anyway. If this one-off here and there, if it makes you happy, come on, fine, just fine. I'm still going to suck that dick over there and cruise that guy over there and do my thing. I do
also, people say that intention rules the world. So I really wonder what the intention is to get a judge involved for a gay, infamous destination. Like, is this person's form of activism? Is this person's form of my rights be damned or your rights be? We all have to live in our label. I don't know. That's just a question.
Kind of right. I think the answer in some ways is yes, but Kodi?
Yeah, I think that there is something. It's like we are weighing discrimination against safe spaces where you feel comfortable doing what you need to do in those spaces. So I think that in this case, the safe space outweighs the discrimination, because I don't think that necessarily they are discriminating against her because they are allowing her in there. However, in order for them to feel comfortable to do what they do, they need for it to be all men at a certain point.
You know what's so interesting about what you said is we had Master Joshua and Miss Cat on our show recently on Tags Live, and we asked them a whole question about their upcoming seminars that's going to be gender non-specific, about BDSM and learning about it in this great part of upstate New York. And they're going to do one here in the city, New York, as well. But one of the things they said was they were aware that a lot of people that are new to BDSM are men at times, and they were going to do a specific one in October just for men because they had heard from the community men that many of them were comfortable exploring BDSM within their own sex, the male sex. And so they were going to do that, but they were offering both of them. And so I think that was really, logically speaking to all people. If you don't care, great, go to this one. If you do care, there's this one over here and everyone's happy. So, okay.
Well, some people will never be happy. Just to be
some people will never be happy.
So
there it is.
And it's okay too.
Some type of resolve with this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, we have to talk briefly about there's an antibiotic shortage that could worsen syphilis epidemic. A new shortage of a type of penicillin crucial to the fight against syphilis is alarming infectious disease experts who warn that a protracted scarcity of the drug could worsen the U.S. epidemic of the sexually transmitted infection. And the shortage was announced by drug maker Pfizer in a letter last month, essentially saying that the rate of syphilis infections and the amount that some of these drug makers are producing is not at the same level. And there's not really even an incentive for some of these drug makers to make it because it doesn't make them a lot of money. They want to put more their money into other drugs. And so the government potentially is getting involved to give them incentive in various ways. I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com. But, a lot of my friends talk to me about, as well as myself, and when you're having sex here and there and you're on PrEP, you're also aware that you can get other STIs that are out there. And when you hear about increases in syphilis or gonorrhea or even chlamydia, you got to think about these things, and you got to think about these shortages that could affect your sexual health. I mean, I know both of you are in relationships and probably don't think about this a lot, so I'm maybe talking to the wrong crowd, but I'm sure you have opinions, Lincoln, on all of this stuff. And what do you think about when you hear some of this stuff?
Well, I don't disagree with you, Steve, but I don't think it's logical. You don't think about an antibiotic antibiotic shortage when you're horny and just want to play around with someone. It's like, oh, no,
correct.
I might get syphilis and there's an antibiotic shortage. I'm going to stop. You don't do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and if you do,
good correction.
Good
yes, I agree.
Yeah. Great for you. But I think you just have to be careful. And I've always been a very clean freak. Do you know what I mean? So if maybe your behavior isn't taking 11 loads from anonymous people in every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe you adjust your behavior a little more that way. And we also hope that the medical community is responsible for people's health and not necessarily the bottom line.
When perhaps you're seeing somebody, say, let's just make this up, a long distance lover, and you're seeing them the upcoming week, do you really want to play around in your hometown knowing that maybe there's a chance you could get one of these STIs and you do not want to bring something over there? Yeah. So it is a little bit of thought process that many of us do go through. I know I've had this actual conversation with some of my close friends that are single like this, because you got to weigh in the factors.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I want to say I wish the government would give me some incentive, because I need it right in this moment. But I do think that people should take into account that the shortage is coming, and I'm glad that we are making people aware. So I know that if you're in the heat of the moment, it's kind of hard to get that check-in, but if you are taking it into account before you even get to that point, then I think that you will be in a much safer and better zone. That's it.
Okay.
Final answer.
Let's leave it at that. Good.
Final answer. But it could also only take one. I didn't mean to throw the person taking 11 anonymous loads up under a bus. It could just take one interaction that, it's not personal. Disease happens. And you try and be careful and keep getting tested. And hopefully there'll be enough antibiotic to take care of us as we move forward.
Well, we all want to look the best that we can look. We're all aging, correct? And
I'm barely.
There are things. There are elective procedures that we can all do to make ourselves look better. One of them that I had not heard of is called vampire facials. Do you guys know what that is?
Is that like blood?
Yeah, it's essentially taking blood. It's called taking blood from the arm and parts of your body and microneedling it back into your face. And you have all these like needle marks on your face, but apparently it's rejuvenating your skin and making you look much younger. Well, you may want to think twice about it the next time you go for something, or look at the records of the spa that you're going to. I would go to an actual dermatologist, but there's a New Mexico health officials say that new HIV infections have been linked to a salon that performed the so-called vampire facial almost 5 years after the business closed. The Albuquerque salon called VIP Spa was shut down in September of 2018 after at least 2 clients tested positive for HIV following the facials. And in March, another former client tested positive for HIV, according to a new release to the New Mexico Department of Health. To date, a total of 5 HIV infections have been identified among people with direct or indirect connection with the service provided at the VIP Spa, said a spokesperson. I mean, this, if you're doing illicit drugs, if you're doing these procedures, which we all want to look the best we can, you look for qualified people that know what they're doing in this. I mean, it's a spa. I wouldn't do any of these things at a spa. I would go to a dermatologist. Kodi?
Yeah, I cannot believe this is wild. They are going to get sued to high heaven. I cannot believe this. My heart goes out to the people that were infected. I think that everybody should be taking their precautions this seems so insane to me, because I can't even imagine going somewhere and having blood injected into my face because to try and look younger, that doesn't even connect for me because I personally am the type of person, I'm a little bit skeevish about blood. So I can't see it happening. And I really can. My mouth was agape the whole time you were telling the story. So,
I mean, have you seen people that have get this microneedling?
Sad.
Your face looks bad for several days.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's a micro. I have not had microneedling, but I do have people in my life who have. Peter and I have not done that, but I have had other procedures to my face and to some scarring on my body that gets rid of a scar or stuff like that. And it's only a few days that it doesn't look bad. There are horror stories, no doubt, and this is certainly the top at the top when it comes to a horror story because this is just crazy. But microneedling as a rule is not taking blood and putting it into your face. Does that make, you know what I mean? That's not what microneedling is. So I've heard of microneedling, but this
blood,
vampire
but the
thing
needle was dirty,
different.
and that's
why
they got, who knows? I mean, what really happened there? I mean, and good luck suing
who knows
a business that doesn't exist anymore, that's out of business too. I mean, at this point, if you were one of those victims of this horrible procedure, it's time to get the care you need to get and move on. Sadly, I think. You guys, what's going on? Divorce is in the air. I mean, Ricky Martin is divorcing his husband of 6 years.
Oh, yeah, I heard about
and
this.
They're seeking joint custody. Billy Porter and husband also ending their marriage after 6 years. And you may not know these, or you may know these, listeners. TikTok stars Nicky, Champa, and Pierre are ending their marriage after only 1 year. I mean, they tied the knot in August of 2022. They said working together just was, too hard and to keep it working, but they love each other. And I think they're going to continue working together, but not as a married couple.
Can I just ask a question? How old is that couple?
They are, let me look it up.
Because when you start a line, 2 TikTok stars are getting a divorce after only
not as young as you.
I just want to.
They're 3.
Not as young as you might think. Boo is 36 years old.
Okay,
and the other one's 27. So
Okay.
Not children here.
Yeah.
We also know Ricky.
Not to throw age under a bus. No. I just thought that the TikTok followed by the 1 year followed by made a little.
We sensed this was coming. We sensed this was coming when, I'm so glad everyone can get married now. I just want to start with you, Lincoln, because I know you're engaged to Peter, but, we are also susceptible to divorce and marriage is not working. And I mean,
which is why we're in the middle of a prenup.
And so is Ricky Martin. And so they said the same thing too.
Yeah. And both Peter and I are adults. We just got, and anyone who's out there who's over, I want to say 40, we just got our healthcare proxies done, and we're in the middle of a prenup, and then we're going to do wills so that things are in line if something, God forbid, happens. And if you go into an adult relationship that is lucky enough to consider marriage, and you know that half of all marriages end in divorce. I am a product of divorce. My mom and dad were divorced. Almost everyone I think I know is from a divorce family, and we have to be responsible as we take the steps forward. We're also doing therapy together before we are planning on getting married next year. So before all that happens, we have to put the wheels in motion to make sure we're making good decisions together with people who do not own a spa, but own a doctor's office who we can go to for proper guidance as we move forward in 2023 as 2 men about to get married in their 50s.
I love that.
There's no mystery there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's in some ways, Kodi, it's sad because in some, you and I did a story, Kodi, recently where we compared gay marriages in general were lasting longer and showing fewer divorces in a recent study than our counterparts. And to see in a week 3 top names get in divorce right now, granted, entertainment. So we know Billy Porter and Ricky and these other, I mean, their lifestyles are a little bit different than most of us. Not that it to diminish regular, normal people, but entertainment is hard, right?
Oh, yeah. And relationships are hard. And gay people are still people at the end of the day. And having to work through all of these issues, just coming out of a pandemic, this is like the first year that we've really been able to be out and about and have all of the things readily available to us.
Absolutely.
I can totally see.
I third that. I mean, it's like, yes.
I can totally see how people would want to reevaluate things. I can totally see how this is another time of reflection on your relationship and how you feel in your relationship. And I think it's sad that they're all breaking up, but it's good that this will be hopefully a new era for them. So
I don't think it's sad when people break up.
No?
I think if the relationship has a shelf life and these two individuals need to grow in different directions, that's not inherently sad. As long as they're growing in truth and moving forward. What's sad is to stay in a relationship that you're fucking miserable in and pretend like everything is fine. That is sad. Pretending you're something you're not, or swallowing who you really are because of the partner you're with, that is sad.
Yeah.
I don't think getting a divorce, and I don't think people get divorced lightly.
I think
you know what I mean. This is not easy.
I think you're definitely right, and I think all of these examples that we've laid out are all thriving individuals who, I mean, Ricky Martin is about to go on the trilogy tour with Enrique and Pitbull. Right. Billy Porter's killing it. He got practically
on tour. Maybe it's the touring problem.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and so it's not like, I feel like all of them have so much to look forward to, including their partners. Ricky Martin's partner, by the way, was in his late 30s, who just opened up an art gallery in Los Angeles. So they will continue and be fine. And I'm not really worried about them. It's just the sanctity of marriage that we fought for, and what that really means is typically forever. And I think that that's where maybe I think differently about marriage now, and probably not because of these stories, just kind of always felt this way, that I would just want to be with somebody. And then when it didn't work out, I wouldn't have this divorce. But it gets complicated though when you own property together, and so
but we fought.
It's probably good to be married and have these things in place, like you just talked about, Link. Great opinions. Let's move on. There is a rapper by the name of Blueface. I don't know if you guys know him or not. Let me just take a sigh.
This is a lot. I already know this story.
You do? Okay. Yeah. Let me just see if I can tell the story without even reading it. Essentially, Blueface had all these strippers, including his baby mom in the house too. So they're like, cool. And he had these strippers in his house recently. He has a 6-year-old son by the name of Javon. And they were, Blueface was having fun with these strippers. They were dancing. And his son, 6-year-old son, was in the other room, essentially in the pantry, and Blueface decided to go up to him and say, "It's booty cheeks out here. You over here looking for chips and Slim Jims and shit." He then proceeded to grill his son, asking if he was gay. "Are you gay? Are you gay?" He kept asking him. Blueface gave the boy multiple high fives when his son said, "I'm no." And I mean, crazy to put his 6-year-old son not only in the company of, they claimed later that there was somebody looking after Blueface, but he was in the right next door. And I think what was really cringeworthy to me, and awful, disgusting, was saying, "Are you gay? Are you gay? Is that why you don't want to come? You're 6 years old, motherfucker. Like, why are you asking your," and filming it too. And he posted this shit too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Lincoln, what do you think when you hear this?
This whole thing is just blood curling to me. I have no idea why this person has an outlet. I have no idea why this person has a child. I have no idea who this person is. It is very, really sad.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
That's all I got.
Yeah, and just really quick, Kodi,
this is sad.
Even when I was, I think I was 19 in college, and I've told this story many times. The brief story is I was in college. I was doing a internship at a major radio station. This guy I was starting to date, and that I cut it off with because he showed really crazy red flags, decided to write into our sales department, the GM, and everybody, and contacted my dad and said that I was sleeping around with every man boy at Berkeley, UC Berkeley, in which my father asked my sister, "Is Steve gay?" And in that tone, and this would kill your mother kind of thing. But that was me at 19 and 20 dealing with all that shit. 6 years old being asked, and that had a scar on me then. But at 19, 20, now we're talking about a 6-year-old boy, Kodi. I mean, what the fuck?
This is actually ridiculous.
And filmed for social media.
And
great.
It's out there for the world to see forever. This is going to be out there on the internet, which this is basically child abuse to me, because for you to treat a 6-year-old with this type of, even the fact that, let's forget about the fact that he asked him, was he gay? He was trying to have the 6-year-old child go out with strippers and sexualize the child with strippers. I'm talking with my hands, guys, just in case you can't see me. It's getting me so hot because they are so quick to call us groomers. And they're actually out here grooming this 6-year-old child to be a straight person with strippers. That is ridiculous to me. I was so incensed when I heard this. It's child abuse, in my personal opinion. And I think that CPS should be called on this person and their children should be taken away, because that's going to be traumatizing for that child forever now.
And let's just say he turns out to be heterosexual, but what are we teaching this child? That homophobia, essentially, like, you're not gay, right? Because heaven forbid you were gay. That is maybe instilling in this child that to be gay is wrong, and now hate all gay people. And
to bounce off that point, if they are actually homosexual, then that will only teach them that they are wrong, which I think is even
that's
worse.
Deeper. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, lastly, I had to do this Reddit thread. It's a simple one, but it cracked me up. Somebody read it in the threads and was on the train and busted up loudly when they read it, because they wrote, if you're hooking up with someone on Sniffies, Grindr, Scruff, etc., are you obligated to tell him you have a load inside of you? Last night, my partner bred me, but I was still horny. So after he went to bed, I opened up Sniffies and found a verse bear, and we fooled around. We did oral, and then he told me he wanted to fuck me. I wasn't sure if I should tell him that I had my partner's load inside me, but when he pushed in, he said he was happy I pre-lubed for him. I think he thought it was lube in my ass. I just let him believe it. He gave me his load, and then I was left with 2 loads inside me. I mean, no, I don't think you're obligated to tell somebody. I think it's like, wow, but no. Kodi?
Oh, yeah. I think that it's not necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get all analytical on this. I don't think it's necessary, but I do think that if you tell the person that you're preloaded, that increases that a lot of people would think that that's really hot. So it could intensify the sexual attraction and the sexual factor that you got going on. I know personally, when I was single, if somebody had told me that they had already had a load in them, I would try really hard to fuck that load out of them while putting my own load inside of them. So, yeah.
Very completely by the book. You are absolutely 100%
Thank you. Textbook answer.
I also think there is not enough antibiotic in the world.
We're running short on syphilis, y'all.
Okay. I'm here for it. I feel like I had somebody...
Sniffies, sponsored by your local antibiotic company.
I feel like somebody did this recently to me, and to Kodi's point, I thought it was hot, and I went with it, and I didn't even blink. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Nice. A lot of people out there that would eat that out before.
Ooh, so, yeah, maybe or after. Have told them, and then
get there.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. So
love it, guys. Always amazing with you guys. Always great to see you, Lincoln. You can follow Lincoln.
Good to see you too.
He's got 2 Instagram accounts. Are you on Threads yet, though?
I have not. So we are Instagram all the way, Mad Lincoln and Protein Bakery.
Follow Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, or his personal account, Mr. Maurice. Follow us, the show, at TAGSPodcast.com. On Instagram, I am _Steve V. We've got 3 guests coming up on Tags Live in the next 3 weeks that you're going to love.
Yes.
You want to check it out. Kodi won't be here this Wednesday, but you're back the next. So check out our special guest. The best way to get to it is go to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link Tags Live. In the meantime, continue having hot, gay sex.